Welcome to the Market Moon Lord, where we merge the matrix with the stars. I'm your host, Jason Alexander. Okay, so I want to go over when I think when I'm expecting the next big moves on AMC especially, and then basically what I'm seeing on all the charts, moon phase wise. So GameStop is looking good. It's maintaining our support line right here that we've been watching. I like to call what GameStop's doing right now is basically consolidating, right? We had the new moon pop, took us to this 31 level ish, right? And then since then it's been consolidating, and then it had a full moon pop, a very small one, all right? I think it was 5%. But it went right back to where that new moon high was, a little bit past the new moon high, right? So it didn't really go anywhere past that new moon, but it also hasn't dropped, right? So I do think it's basically consolidating. One thing I can say is GameStop has a lot of good volumes, maintaining volume very well, even after the full moon. So that's a good sign. My guess is it's going to hover around these areas until it gets the next big push around that new moon time. My guess, but the volume is there, and it could be ready to go pretty fast here. Technically speaking, it's close to the upper Bollinger Bands. It bounced off the middle, increased the volume. So I like everything I'm seeing on that. I am going to go over AMC's. There's important dates that I see on this actual astrology chart that we're going to look at closer to the end of this video. As far as moon phase, they dropped us multiple phases. It's almost like we're starting almost from scratch again after the dilution and all that good stuff. So it's whatever. One thing I can say is we had a high around this new moon over here, and then and it dropped all the way to this full moon, right? And it looks like the full moon is potentially and hopefully the bottom of the nasty dilution drop, right? So pretty interesting. Popped into that new moon. It looks like it was going to keep going. Everything was going as scheduled, as planned, as we were expecting, just for the dilution to come. And we were expecting news, just not that news. And yeah, there you have it. The one thing about AMC is not only do I believe that it did reach a bottom the exact day of that full moon, but I also see that the volume is still pretty healthy, still increasing pretty high still. So both GameStop and AMC did not get any type of drop of volume when the full moon came, which is a good sign. Going over to the SPY, you all know that certain stocks track the moon phases way better. AMC is one of the best candidates for that. We look at the SPY just to get more information, see where the market's at, but I'm not really hyper focused on the SPY like I am AMC, obviously, right? But SPY dropped right after that full moon. And one thing I want to point out, we didn't have any full moon moonshot. Actually, we did have one really nice moonshot, but almost everything peaked on that full moon. You see here, GameStop full moon peaked out. You can see over here on SPY, before it changed trend, that full moon was basically the last day that it was up there. You can see Tesla did have a full moon pop of 8%, which we did. So I will consider that a moonshot because Tesla 8% is crazy, which we did call out. Was very nice. And we can see that since then it kind of peaked out. After that, it did peak on the full moon, the day after the full moon. It's been dropping since, but the volume is also still there along with SPY. But you can see the full moon clearly popped. Same thing with Bitcoin. It basically went right up all the way on the full moon. Went up a couple days after that before it had a drop after that full moon. DJT popped into that full moon. It was all the way up like 6% at one point, and then after the full moon it dropped. The other moonshot we called out was BB, and it did pop all the way up to 18% at one point of that day. And then it kind of did a slight pullback, and then a few days later it popped again 21%. That's crazy. My target is around $4 on that, but at this speed, it's looking like it could very well go past that. And just knowing BB and how they operate that stock is very similar to GameStop and AMC. Like one day it'll be like that, and then it'll go right back to where it was, right? So we do need to be aware of that. and it didn't make the move that we were looking for. So I do not suggest jumping in it now. But yeah, all that's looking pretty good. All that's looking pretty good. So real fast, I do want to go over AMC's stars real quick. Okay, so I'm looking at the new moon, and this new moon looks really, really tasty for two reasons, okay? Reason number one, it's right when Mercury is having a return on Mercury. That's one big time energy that I told you I was looking forward to on AMC. Now, it doesn't officially go over it until a few days later, but it's close enough for it to be a new moon banger, okay? Because that's very relevant to have Mercury return home within 2 degrees on the day of the new moon on AMC. And not only is this a new moon for AMC, but it's opposite AMC's moon, 0 degrees. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna go too crazy with what I see right now for this new moon. But I am almost looking at all these charts, and I'm almost feeling like we're having just a slight pullback before even bigger pops into the next cycles. We could almost see it in Tesla. It dropped, but it hasn't even gone to the middle of the Bollinger Bands. I won't be surprised if it does, but just to kind of like bounce off of that and then consolidate to make another big move around the new moon, full moon times, right? Almost the same thing with like Bitcoin. It did go underneath the Bollinger Bands a little bit. On the big scale, it hasn't really gone anywhere, right? So I am looking forward to the end of the year rally, New Year rally. It is looking very interesting, not to mention the volume hasn't really seemed to really decrease yet. So time will tell. If another thing that's kind of bothering me is what's happening with these the drones / aliens, whatever you want to call it. I am going to drop another video later today, so check that out. But it's almost scary because the way it's looking, it could very well affect the stock market if anything pops off, right? So anyway, guys, check out those videos. Also show some support on those videos if you do want me to keep pushing out different type of content, fun content, entertaining content. And if you guys appreciate this DD on AMC, DD you absolutely cannot get anywhere else. Go ahead and hit the like button. If you're new here, subscribe. I'm Jason Alexander, the Blue Moon of Neptune, here to help you navigate through the illusions of life. You're watching the Market Moon Lord, where we merge the matrix with the stars. Until next time, peace.